A number of you have been asking me about what kind of MATLAB you need to use on your personal computer for EES 1011. With that in mind, I wanted to go over a few answers to clarify things. So the first thing to know is that everyone can access MATLAB for free on the web using the WebFast system. And that's available for York students using WebFast. Okay, so if you do Google for WebFast and YorkU, you'll find the link for it, and you can set up MATLAB there. What's important to know is that this is a bare bones version of MATLAB. It's really good for doing basic things, but you can't access hardware with it, like the fidgets board that we used in the lab. It also doesn't do things like Simulink and some of the more advanced things. So it will be fine for doing classroom type of activities, for homework that you'll be seeing in class, things along those lines. But don't imagine for a moment that you can actually use it for the lab itself. So while it's free, it's really good. You won't be able to use it in the lab. For doing the lab work, on the other hand, what's important to know is that you can purchase MATLAB and install it on your own personal computer, or you can just simply use the laptops that are provided for you in the lab. So if you don't want to go through the hassle of installing all of this on your own personal computer, don't worry, all of that is going to be provided for you during the lab sessions. But if you decide that you want to use MATLAB on your personal laptop in the lab, that's okay. And here are the parts that you need to make that happen. The first thing to do is to download something called VirtualBox. And this is basically a type of application that runs on your Mac or your Windows PC. You download it from a company called Oracle, and it's a pretty simple installation. From there, you need a special file that some people call a virtual appliance operating system. Okay, well, effectively all this is a big file that you get from the EECS department at York. It has a Linux on it. It's customized to run what we need, and VirtualBox will recognize it and will give you an application that looks right on your computer. But that's not all. So effectively, you'll have a window inside of your computer that runs this Linux virtual appliance, but it won't run MATLAB. What you then have to do is you have to go and get MATLAB. And you download it from a site called themathworks.com, and you're looking for the student edition. Don't worry about doing this right away. You can wait a week or two before the labs get started, and we can have a discussion in person if you'd like to. Okay. What's also really important to know is that within the virtual appliance operating system, there's a special software library. This is the fourth component. This allows MATLAB within the virtual appliance to talk over USB to the fidget's hardware. And I'll show that graphically in a moment. Okay, so we're going to skip to the next page. Okay, this is the laptop that you would see in the lab. And within it, the laptop has VirtualBox installed. And VirtualBox would look something like this. It would look like a little window inside of the laptop, just like an application that you would normally have. And within that, we've already installed MATLAB. So you can run MATLAB inside of the VirtualBox Linux appliance. And then when you attach a USB cable, that, and you attach the fidgets board like this to your USB cable, then you end up getting communication going from the board through the USB into the computer, and it will talk to MATLAB inside of the virtual machine. And you'll be able to do all your lab work like that. And this is the laptop. Oops. And it's provided for you. in the lab. Now, if it turns out that you want to use your own personal computer, you can do that too. Now, what's nice about using your own personal computer is that if you want to, you can access the Citrix Receiver Matlab version on WebFast, and that's totally fine. But you won't be able to use any hardware like the Fidgets hardware in the lab with it, but you can do all your classroom activities with it. So that's one possibility with your personal computer. So that would be, you can run Matlab that way. The other way to do it is you go and you download VirtualBox. So you download VirtualBox, and from there you will eventually download the virtual appliance from the electrical engineering department, and so you'll be able to run Linux as a VirtualBox application. And then what you'll do is you'll purchase a copy of Matlab. So you'll have to go to the MathWorks, download Matlab into your virtual appliance, and then eventually you'll have a nice working version of Matlab running inside of your VirtualBox Linux application. Because you're using the virtual appliance that was provided to you by the electrical engineering department, then that also means that as soon as you hook up a USB cable to your computer and the Fidgets hardware to that USB cable, then what will end up happening is you will get communication from the board into the virtual appliance, and you'll be able to manipulate it using Matlab within the virtual appliance. What's important to know is that, again, inside of this virtual appliance there are software libraries that have been written specifically to allow the communication to happen. Okay, so this is the way that you would set up your personal computer. To run Fidgets board in a Linux virtual appliance in VirtualBox with Matlab. I hope that clarifies things for everybody.